Okay, welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
And we have a special guest this week, recruiter Jamie Getchman.
Hello.
Jamie is here. Brian, you invited Jamie.
Yeah, I
in.
did. There's two reasons for that. One, he sits pretty close to me, so that's an easy get. And two, I've heard tell he's a Surly fanboy, but he hasn't actually been to the brewery, but he does like their wares. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a Surly beer today.
Surly Staycation Pineapple Milkshake IPA.
Yeah, we haven't delved into the milkshake IPA subset yet, so I thought it would be good for today. And it just happened to be, we've had like snow days the last couple days here in town. The can looks like a Hawaiian shirt or some swim trunks.
Yep.
Very cool logos on there. Just the design is really nice. So we're going to get a little tropical with this today.
I can't wait to get into why or how you get milkshake into a beer.
Yeah. It's not like you think, but it's. I guess it's kind of close. Also, it kind of matches your shirt.
It does
pretty
kinda-
good. And
kinda
your hat.
matches me
You're
today.
very matching. We're going to get a shot
Very
of that
blue
later.
today.
Dolan later on.
All right, so I'll crack this open and then I'll hit a little bit. So, little known fact that Jamie, it was shortly after you started here as a recruiter, you introduced me to Surly Darkness for the first time.
It was, I got a few bottles of that. I was lucky that my Hy-Vee locally held back a few of them for me. And it's really crazy how many people are Surly fans, especially in this office, for a lot of their different beers.
Well,
I've
I'll
never
go-
had this one.
I'll go into this a little bit, that Surly is one of those breweries that has tried really hard for the brand identity. Like, Surly Nation is a big deal to them, right? They identify, the people that drink Surly identify with the brand and with their beers and the brewery and the brewers there, and a lot like the... which one did we do just recently? The one in Michigan.
Founders.
Founders, yes.
Yeah.
The Founders guys who are just completely irreverent to, if you don't like our beer, I wouldn't give a shit, right?
Yeah,
It's
go.
just fine.
Right.
Right? But people like it and they love it and they come back. And that's the way Surly is, too.
I feel like those breweries, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, there's a toughness to the folks that live there, right? Like weather, I feel like here in Nebraska, our weathers are pretty rough, but I feel like up there it's like a 9-month winter.
Yeah.
Right? So when the weather is like 30 degrees, that's time to go outside and do something or whatever. And the breweries, I think, reflect that sort of atmosphere. And like they don't care. They do whatever they want. And it's going to be a communal thing up there. Tap rooms and that sort of thing are just huge there where at this one specifically, I've waited in line for 2 hours to get in here and sit and have a table so we could eat.
Really?
So, I mean, it was a hot spot to be, and it's kind of a cool spot in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Just a lot of good beers from there, too. So there's another reason people like Surly, because they make delicious drinks.
Just good beers.
Yeah.
All right, let's give this one
Let's
a
get
shot.
into it.
Staycation Pineapple Milkshake IPA. No, it's not as IPA-y as I thought it would be.
That's okay.
I don't get a ton of pineapple. Some.
Yeah.
It's more the citrus than it is the IPA, maybe.
I agree.
Yeah. That's good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So here's what we got. This is a subset or a bastardized version or more adjuncts added to a New England style IPA.
Okay.
So that's where this base comes from. As you can tell, it's not that hazy.
No,
right?
no.
I mean, I can't see your face when I look through the glass. I can kind of see,
Yeah.
but it's not like as hazy as some that we've had.
No.
But it's definitely not clear either. This starts back. This has only been around, this style of beer, really since 2015. I saw something online today. The guy's name is Jason Ahlstrom, and he's one of the co-founders of Beer Advocate.
Okay.
And he reviewed a beer in January of 2015 that was labeled as a milkshake, and it was a pale ale. It wasn't an IPA. And the brewery was Tired Hands, and the beer was called Hop Hands. And he gave it a 2.74 out of 5.
Oh.
Basically said that this is not a beer that should be remade. It's not a trend. This isn't something people should do. He didn't like it.
No.
So Tired Hands did what most brewers would do, and they put out 16 more of these in the next year. They said, screw you.
Good for them.
We love them. People like them.
Yep.
We're going to make a bunch of them. So
Yep.
by 2016, they had made 16 different kinds of this style of beer.
Awesome.
So really what it is, a milkshake IPA, it's going to have lactose.
Okay.
So that's an unfermentable milk sugar is what's added in there. And then it's either going to have some fruit or it's going to have some spice. It's going to have some additive other than just straight like hoppy, piney beer. So it's going to have a fruit. It's going to have pineapple. It's going to have cherry, strawberry, sea salt. There's a brewery in Lincoln. We always talk about them, Boiler.
Mm-hmm.
They make a line of these. They'll do like a milkshake, and then it'll be a mimosa goza. So that it has like orange juice, and then it has vanilla. That's the other thing a lot of these will have is vanilla.
It says it right on the side of the can. Ale brewed with pineapple, lactose, and vanilla bean.
So that's what I get mostly when I drink this is the vanilla. And that's just for me. You can smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it.
It's almost a late, like a delayed. You can really taste
it's on
it
the
at
back
end.
end.
True. Yeah.
And I get the hops there too. It's kind of where it's all coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Got some visitors walking through. Cool.
Interesting. You never know what's going to happen at Atlas.
No, you don't. I've come to expect the unexpected. As I was walking out for lunch yesterday, I looked over and I saw Dolan outside, which isn't totally uncommon.
True.
To not be working in the building, but he was shooting video of Mr. Steve Ryan and Mike Combs laying in the snowbank, and they were floundering around a bit, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I
was
didn't even
entertaining.
second guess it. I didn't think about it. That was Atlas.
How many beers did they have before?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
You know what?
Our snow day.
They were iced in, so I don't think they really drank at all. Like no lunch beers or anything like that.
Nothing.
So,
Yeah, it was before lunch.
Well, Dolan did. Okay, look at
Dolan had one afterwards, I think, but
Well, I think he had one for breakfast.
take the cold off. But
Sure.
yeah, this was at like 11:30 in the morning.
Oh,
So
he's like 3 deep by then. Usually,
yeah, I mean, if it was a Saturday or whatever, yeah,
don't make excuses for
or a
him.
Thursday.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, milkshake IPAs. You'll see sometimes very limited runs on these, really. So like when it says right on the top, it's super small batch or something like that. I think Cross Train made one time. I'm almost positive. I could check my Untapped results, but I'm almost positive they made one. Omnipolo, you know that name? They're known morely for stouts a lot of times around here. They're a Swedish brewery.
Okay.
And they also were one of the very first people to make one of these beers.
You know what I'm getting as I drink this is carbonation. Are they generally more carbonated?
It can be. I mean, because this one is in the can, so sometimes they're like, I want to use the term carb loaded, but that's more like because I had spaghetti for breakfast. But,
Yes.
you could get that. You could get that thing in there.
And maybe that's just masking something else. I don't know.
I think a lot of it is it's just a little bit thicker mouthfeel than a normal IPA, and that's where that extra lactose comes in.
Maybe that's it.
And that's really what the term is supposed to remind you of. It's not as thick as a shake, right? It can't be. But you're supposed to it's supposed to be a little bit more substance than your normal IPA.
Interesting.
So it shouldn't pour like sludgy or syrupy, but it should be just a little bit different than what you're used to.
That's what I would expect. Actually, is before I had any connection to beers or anything. If I were to see this on the shelf, I would think this is a milkshake. This is thick.
Yeah.
This is stout, maybe
Right.
something, and that's not the case whatsoever.
And we've had some really thick stouts doing this show.
Absolutely.
And this one, thicker than probably a standard IPA, but it's not like it's chewy or anything. So as it's warmed up a little bit, I'm starting to get a little bit more of the pineapple at the beginning,
Yeah.
and I definitely get the vanilla at the end. So it's definitely not unpleasant. I would drink this.
I would drink this a lot.
Yeah.
Jamie?
It's delicious,
Yeah.
Nice.
especially at 10:30 in the morning. It's
Right, yeah.
fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't say what time it is.
It's always 3 o'clock somewhere or whatever
It's
they say.
right.
5 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Dolan says it's 8 o'clock. Whatever. I don't
Whatever works.
It's refreshing and enjoyable.
It is refreshing. What? Okay, so what's the ABV on this then?
I don't know. It's probably 6 or 7, maybe.
6.5. Look at that.
Right in there.
You're like a beer savant.
Well, I just know the standards. That's all I know.
Yeah.
The deviations is what can throw you. But some local places around here that do them in a little bit more mass produced. Odell has one, and it's pretty good. And Weldworks has one.
Yes.
They have a couple different ones. They're basically taking their Juicy Bit series or their Bits series, and then they're doing the vanilla and the lactose to it. And they have a pina colada one that's just phenomenal. That was rated #1
Sounds interesting.
last year.
So next time I go through Greeley, Colorado, then I need to stop by WeldWorks
And just load up.
load up.
I mean, the first couple weeks I was here, I think I bought or got some WeldWorks from 3 or 4 different people from here.
Yeah, Greek was in for a wedding. He was at a wedding there and
he
picked
was
up
there,
some.
and I think Mike Combs had some, so that's always around if you can get it. It's great. And then Second Shift is a brewery down in St. Louis, which
Okay.
is, I know, your favorite town. And
Oh,
if you're there,
St.
grab
Louis
some.
is like Chris Bryant said this past weekend. St. Louis is boring.
Oh, my
So,
goodness. Wow.
Take that, Yadier
Well,
Molina.
Go to the brewery and drink some of these milkshake IPAs.
I would do that actually.
And then Funky Buddha. You know them?
Oh yeah.
Down in Oakland, Florida. I had to look that up.
There's an Oakland, Florida.
Apparently, because that's where Funky Buddha is at.
All right, whatever.
That's another one I really enjoy.
Funky Buddha. Yeah. They do some good stuff. Yeah. So here's what I found out about Surly. Locations in Minneapolis and Brooklyn Center. Brooklyn Center was the original location there in just outside the Twin Cities. I assume it's like a suburb-ish of the Twin Cities. Founded by Omar Ansari. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing
Yeah.
your name. Ansari, Ansari.
Yeah, it sounds like Ansari, yeah.
Yep. He was a home brewer, and then he apprenticed at New Holland for a while.
I think that's a Michigan brewery, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So then he apprenticed at New Holland and then opened Surly in 2005. 2013, April 2013, they purchased 8.3 acres in the Prospect Park area and built a $20 million brewery.
I've been to that, yeah.
Have you been there? Mm-hmm. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It
it's
looks
super
amazing.
cool.
Like, have you ever been to? It's not New. Yeah, it's New Belgium in Colorado.
yeah.
It looks like that. It looks like that sort of place.
It's kind of like that, yeah. It's bigger than that, it feels like, when you get in there.
Holy cow.
One of the things I would say, if anybody has a chance to go there, they should definitely do it. And one of the things that we're always talking about on here about breweries is if they have food and stuff. This is probably the fanciest brewery food. Like, you could get marrow bones there.
Really?
And they had, like, the appetizer there was like, normally you're going to get, like, chips and queso or, at a brewery. You're not going to get something fancy. And this thing was like, what's that? Paella. I think they had like a paella the day I was there.
Really?
Like a seafood paella in the middle of summer.
All right.
And I was like, this is crazy. And people were there. We waited almost 2 hours
Yeah.
to get in. They had amazing desserts. All the food was great. The beers were great. And it was a beautiful day outside. So they have these like roll-away, kind of like what we have, big roll-away doors. They opened them up, and it basically made the tap room go to the outside. They had a patio out there. Tons of, I would call them yard games, like you would play outside. But it was like in a super manicured and like horticulturally beautiful area that they had at the brewery.
Wow.
They had this thing I'd never seen before. They had built up these, I would almost call them hills. They
Okay.
were like 2 or 3 people wide. And it was like, so you could just lay back, almost like you're standing, but you're like leaned against something. So you're like laying on the ground, but you're almost vertical or like
Really?
at a 45-degree angle. So you can still drink beer and talk.
And chill.
But you're like leaned way back like this.
Nice.
But you're just
Oh.
on like a hill. And they had like a bunch of these all around. So it was, if you didn't want to sit at a table, you could
Yep.
just be like,
Just
you
go
and your buddy just lean over here and
lean on
talk.
the hill.
I'd never seen that in my life.
I did read that when they bought this, when they spent the $20 million to renovate this plot of land, the city gave them like $2 million in whatever the city
Relief,
gave. Yes,
basically, yeah.
because that plot of land was so badly contaminated
Could be.
from industry and whatever. So.
If I'm remembering right. I mean, I've been to a couple breweries in my life. So I'm trying to remember if this is the one. But
You've been to like 4, probably.
yeah, 4 this week. There's a huge grain elevator behind it that had like a train car, a train track that still went to it, and you could walk from the brewery right over to it, which I'm thinking is a bad idea
Yeah.
because they had the ladder and whatnot. But it was like an old grain elevator, and it's kind of in the middle of this industrial area.
Yep.
And you have to kind of know where you're going. You're not just going to stumble upon this, from what I remember. So like we had to navigate some roads to get to this place, and then you walk in and they had this like these fire features at the front stairs, and then they had like a water wall behind it, which was really fancy. And then you walk in, and it was like an art museum. It was beautiful in there in the waiting area and stuff, which was good because we had to wait there a long time.
It sounds like we need to go there.
Oh, it would be an
agree.
amazing place to do like a remote or shoot some stuff. It would be really
Yeah.
cool.
I've heard that people go there just for the pizza, not even the beer sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
The
could totally
pizza's
see
really
that.
good.
Really?
Oh, I love pizza.
I do like pizza a lot.
I have a pizza page on Facebook. Did you know that, Rich?
An Atlas pizza page.
It's not Atlas. It's just mine.
You
but-
just have a pizza page?
Yeah, I got a pizza page.
He's the only member.
I
Just
actually-
for himself.
I think I have like maybe 40 people that follow it. But
Had a
it's-
Totino's this morning.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I just document all the pizzas that I eat.
So do you watch Pizza Review? Do you watch the Barstool Pizza Review every day?
No, never.
You really should.
The only time I ever saw it, I think you sent me something, or you were talking about one where the guy got kicked out.
Yeah.
I saw that. That was kind of viral.
That one was fantastic.
No, it's more like just to talk about pizza
All right.
and show pizza pictures and.
You really do love pizza, though.
Oh, I love it. I love pizza.
I mean, I love
Dedication.
tacos, but I don't love tacos that much.
Well, you need to up your game, man.
I guess.
You do a little
have
bit of
a-
a taco
yeah, that's
segment.
That's true. That's true.
You got I don't have a pizza segment yet.
You could have a
working on
pizza
it.
segment. We could do an Atlas Pizza segment. Feature it
You
on
could-
your taco
Just
page,
in this
or
town, you could
page.
pizza across Omaha and like get a slice everywhere, and you'd
passion.
be. It would take you forever.
That would take a long time. Well, that's what we're doing with tacos. So
And it took a long time to get the pizza when we were there. That's my tie-in right back to it.
But it was good pizza,
But it was
though.
super good. So here's the thing back then. I don't know if it's changed, but when we were there, you could not buy beer to go at the brewery. You couldn't buy anything there. You could only have it on tap.
Okay.
They didn't do growlers or crowlers.
Yep.
Didn't have 6-packs to go. It was because of the liquor license or the laws there in Minnesota.
Okay.
You had to go to a package store, like a liquor store. Mm-hmm. So they told us there was like 2 or 3 that were close, and they were direct people to go and get the beer there. Like that's
Interesting.
how you had to do it. So I think that they were working on changing that over this last summer. I haven't been back since, but that would be a major bummer if you really like something, and then you were like, oh, I have to drive 20 more minutes out of my way to go find this and take it home.
Right.
So that's not awesome. But I'm hoping that they have changed that.
Would they sell their like super limited stuff there too? Like, I mean,
I mean, you could drink it on tap, but there was no like.
you couldn't take it home
No,
with you.
they did have a thing which was kind of cool. Like they have one of those a brand of sour or a style of sour we haven't done yet, the Ode Bruin or whatever. But they have theirs called the Pentagram, and it's a barrel aged one. And you could go just buy a bottle of that at the bar, but you had to open it and drink it there. But,
Oh,
They
okay.
had bombers and stuff like that.
Interesting.
The other cool thing about Surly, from what I remember, probably one of the most merchandise breweries I've ever been to. They had a whole store on the side of the brewery and the tap room. You could go buy stuff.
Interesting.
And I picked up a couple hats and Todd the Axeman shirt and some stuff like that.
I'm somehow not surprised that you left there with some merch.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah, my wife was pretty happy with
I'm
me
sure she was.
that day.
Do you really need that, Brian?
The answer is always no, but I'm still going to do it anyway.
Right, right. With all due respect to your wife, I wasn't, that's, yeah. But my wife does the same thing.
Yeah.
Rich, do you really need this? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do.
Uh-huh.
I don't have this one yet.
Right.
I just got a hat in Charlotte because it was purple, and I was like, I don't have a purple build hat yet. I
need
wear a
it.
shirt that
You need that.
matches that pretty
Yep.
good, so
Exactly.
I needed it, Dolan.
That was the last thing I wrote down was and we talked about this just a little bit, that Surly Nation, like they have really created a brand identity for themselves. Like it's a big deal to them.
Yeah.
And the people that follow, that like their beers, that follow them, like they have a very large following on social media. The very loyal fan base there in Minnesota. They've tried really hard. I mean, you could tell that's a focus for
Yeah,
them.
they are kind of big with mountain bikers, at least around here, from what I know. A couple of my friends are really like they have Surly mountain bike socks. That's a big thing from them.
Yeah.
So you can sport your Surly gear anywhere all the time.
That's do you have Surly socks? Do you have those?
I don't have any socks from Surly. I do have socks. I mean, I'm not a monster.
Right.
But they're not Surly
Okay,
tagged.
yes.
So I don't think I have any brewery socks, actually, to be
No?
honest with you. No. I'm more of I like to show it off, Rich. And,
You can hide socks. Yeah, you're
shorts
right.
and socks is while a fun combination, it's not one that usually is well received.
Well, it's a dad combination.
It is,
so-
yeah. I did for one summer. This is totally not related to what we're talking about, but kind of is. One summer, my wife challenged me because I had worn black socks, and was going to mow the yard, and I like to keep socks on. I don't want dirt all over my ankles.
Right, no.
And so I kept the black socks on, and she said, "That looks terrible. Why are you doing that?" And so for the whole summer, I mowed with black socks, pulled up almost to my knee.
Yep.
And I was like 26 years old.
Beautifying the neighborhood, Brian.
And you know what? I had a couple people slow down.
Yeah.
One guy rolled the window down.
Yeah.
I felt pretty good about
Little
it.
cat call? Give you a cat call,
Yeah.
maybe? Yeah.
It was more like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah.
But whatever.
I'll take it, though.
I took it.
Right.
Any attention is good attention. So had I had some Surly socks then, maybe I would have sold them a couple pints of beer.
I guess. So if you're anywhere close to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, this is definitely one of those beer destinations. So I've seen, there have been some pictures posted recently on Facebook where our nurses have gone to breweries because they've listened to A Beer with
Hey,
Atlas.
all right.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and they're trying different beers now, which very, they were Busch Light, Coors Light kind
Yeah.
of drinkers before, and now they're trying different stuff, and we get good feedback. Like, okay, I would never have this again, to I would never have tried this, and I really like it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
And that's all we're asking is just to have an open mind.
Yep.
And you might not love everything, but you'll find something you at least
but
like.
give it a shot.
Yeah.
You've gotten a few sent to you that way too, haven't you?
Yes.
Just from that's awesome.
Yeah, so and that's another thing too. Always, if you try something and you really like it,
Yeah.
wrap it up in like a plastic bag, wrap it in some bubble wrap, mail it to us.
Yeah.
And don't necessarily tell the post office that's what you're doing.
Yeah, just
But-
say it's yeast samples. That's what
Yeah.
I always do
Yeah,
when we're
exactly.
shipping beer.
So there you go, and send it to us, and we will drink it here on A Beer with Atlas, and
We'll shout you out, too, for sure.
absolutely, yeah, without a doubt. So
So what do you think, Jamie?
I think, it's delicious. It's something that you can enjoy in the wintertime, like you said, and I could totally sit down and enjoy this in June or July as well.
I bet this would be really good on tap.
I bet it
I
would
wonder
too.
if you could find it. I doubt it. Not around here, but I was happy to find them in my local store, so I picked one up.
I'm happy you did.
Yeah, turned out pretty good.
it's one of those dangerously good ones. Like you don't tell it's 6.5, right, until it's too late.
Probably. And that one of the, I don't want to say a negative of the style, but sometimes if you're not doing it right, they can be way sweet. And that turns most people off. However, it's also usually pretty fruity too. So this is what you could call a gateway to an IPA, right?
Yeah.
So this is just baby steps away from the standard hazy IPA, right? And then
Yes.
get from there, then you can go to the IPA or you can go wherever. So
There's a whole world
this
after
is just
that.
another entry into craft beer.
I like
And
it.
deliciousness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you.
Jamie, thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate the invite, Brian. Thank you very
no
much.
problem.
Yeah. So next week, I think I want to do a sour next week.
Let's do it.
I think so.
Pucker up,
Yep.
Buttercup.
Yeah, let's see. Might have another special guest, a newer employee, maybe with us next
Okay.
week, and we're going to do a sour from one of his favorite breweries, not too far from us, maybe just to the north in the South Dakota region.
Okay, sounds good.
Look forward to that. We'll see you next week.